Hey guys, it's Payne, and today I'm going to be doing a winter book haul. I have 19 books to show you today. We're just going to say 20 for the title, you know? And these are just books that I have accumulated through the months that I haven't really mentioned in videos, or, you know, just after my Christmas book haul or whatever my last book haul was, really. And hopefully I didn't mention these in my other book hauls, because sometimes that accidentally happens where I say a book again because I just completely forgot, and I don't plan these things very well. I'm a great booktuber. I'm just gonna warn you, I'm not gonna have the best descriptions just because it's so many books, and these videos are literally a terror, at least for me, to film because it's so much going on, so many books, and oh my god, I get really hot under this ring light. I start to sweat. It's a lot. But I'm gonna do my best, so let's just go ahead and get into the video. The first book that I got was Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I actually read this book in February, and I'm going to talk about it in my February wrap-up, so stay tuned for that on my feelings. This is a classic book, and a new movie just came out about it. I really want to watch that movie. I just haven't had the chance, and it's mostly out of theaters at this point, but I've heard amazing things about it. And I actually got sent this by Penguin Teen. They had like a whole promotion for it, and I thankfully got to be a part of it, so that was super cool. And this book is mainly about 4 girls in the 1800s, I think, the Civil War, and they're struggling in New England. It's mainly about one sister, Jo March. She is an aspiring writer. Then she has her sisters Meg, Beth, and Amy. Pretty much their life story, struggling while their father is in a war, and it's just them and their mom, and it kind of follows them as they grow up. I listened to the audiobook to help this go quicker because it is a very chunky book, but very heartwarming and powerful. Lots of great quotes in this. And if you're wanting a coming of age sort of story, I definitely think this could be for you. It is a children's classic. It's meant for young readers, which I think is super cool, and I definitely think the author was way ahead of her time with this book. The next book I got is Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulters. You can tell I got this from the used bookstore for $3.50. What a find. All I really know about this one is it is a female-female romance. I'm pretty sure it is a princess who is betrothed to this prince, but she ends up having a relationship with the sibling of the prince. So I guess the other princess. I think it's an enemies to lovers sort of thing, because it says that this princess intimidates her the most, but they start to have feelings for one another, and it's kind of bad because she's supposed to marry her brother. You know, it just sounds absolutely fantabulous. It's a fantasy setting, princesses and princes and shit like that. But we have a female-female romance and a complicated thing where, oh my god, it's kind of forbidden because she's supposed to marry the brother. The next book I got is called Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. I actually got this on my friend Brittany from Brittany and Books recommendation. Go check out her YouTube channel because it's really good. I'm like 40 pages into this. It's actually a book about writing a novel, if you can't tell from this title. And it's inspired by a different book called Save the Cat. It's all about screenwriting, and a lot of writers, authors and such have been able to get good knowledge from that book, and this author Jessica Brody decided to use that formula that book showed and put it in a format that novel writers could use. And there's a lot of Hunger Games references and a lot of popular YA books used to explain things in this. So far, it's really fabulous. I've been highlighting a bunch of stuff, and I need to continue to read it because I really need to get my life together writing wise and start writing again and revise all my stuff and just figure out what I'm doing. And I feel like this is gonna help a lot. The next 3 books that I got here are all Alice Oseman books. I have Solitaire, Radio Silence, and I Was Born for This. I got these 3 beautiful editions from Book Depository, and they're UK copies, but I freaking love it, and her future books are gonna come out in this style, so I freaking love it so much. All I know about Solitaire, it's about the sister of Charlie from Heartstopper, which I'm gonna be talking about later in this video. I think it's before, and you actually see Nick and Charlie start to fall in love with each other a little bit, I think, in this book, but it's not about them. It's about the sister, and really, the description, everywhere I've read about it, it doesn't tell you much about what's going on in here, other than that this is not a love story, but she's starting to feel things for this dude named Michael. But she's like, I don't care about Michael Holden. I really don't. I don't believe that. I feel like she really cares about some Michael Holden, so I guess we'll find out whenever I finally read this book. And then we have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Really good one. I've actually read this one, and it's about Frances, who is a study machine. Her whole life is about getting good grades and stuff like that. Literally, that's all she does. She doesn't really have friends. She's just the know-it-all of the school, and nobody really talks to her, but she's a big fan of a podcast that's actually like a storytime podcast. It tells a story. It's like a fantastical, crazy thing. I don't know how to explain that, but it's really cool. It's like an episodic podcast where each one is a fantasy sort of thing. I'm so bad at this. And she is a huge fan of it and ends up becoming friends with the creator of it, who might be her freaking neighbor. And this book is completely a platonic friendship book, and it's so nice to see that. So if you don't want really any romance at all and you just want to see a blossoming friendship, I definitely think you should pick this one up, especially if you're tired of school. This book is all about hating school. The next one was I Was Born for This, and what I know about this one is there is a big boy band. There's one character who's obsessed with this boy band, and I think her and one of the people from the boy band, their lives kind of intertangle, and I assume they might have a romance, and lots of problems ensue. So really great description from Peyton Reeds over here. I think it sounds really interesting because boy band shit, like, oh my god, I was a big One Direction fan, so I'm super excited to read something about fandom like this. And since we're on the topic of Alice Oseman, we have Heartstopper Volume 1 and Volume 2. I've mentioned this several times on my channel, so I'm not going to really go that much into it, but it's pretty much a gay little romance. Graphic novel, super cute, Nick and Charlie, boy meet boy. It's amazing. If you just need the cutest thing ever to read that's going to make you smile, I recommend these so hard, so much. It's so great. And I can't wait to get my hands on the third one. I'm just waiting for it to get cheaper. The next book I'm hauling is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition that I just had to have because it's so freaking gorgeous. I still haven't even read the first book, which is Carry On, and I've heard this book is not that good by a lot of people, but I'm still gonna give it a shot. And really what I know about the first book, Carry On, it's all about a really fanfiction-y type of Harry Potter. It's really similar to Harry Potter, but instead it's Simon Snow, and he is the chosen one, but he's like a terrible chosen one, and he has, believe, a romance with this dude named Baz, and it's about a magical school. What more can you get? I really want to understand the hype around Simon and Baz, because if you don't know, she wrote another book called Fangirl, and the main character writes fanfiction about Simon and Baz, and Carry On, the first book, is pretty much her fanfiction, so I want to read Kath's fanfiction. The next book I got is Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schult. And I got sent this by Penguin Teen as well. This one sounds super cool. It's a fantasy book, of course, because I mostly read fantasy books. And I'm pretty sure it's about these two main characters, and somehow they accidentally are involved in the deaths of 4 queens. Whoa, that's a lot of problems. Okay. And they're trying to figure out who killed the queens and save their own lives in the process. And they have a whole partnership because of that. They're pretty much just running away from everything, and there's so many problems happening, obviously. And I think that means they entangle in some love. We'll see if they fall in love, but it sounds pretty complicated. How did these 4 queens die? I guess hopefully we'll find out in this book. We'll see. The next book that I got is War Girls by Toshi Onyebushi. This book is set in 2172, so definitely in the future. And there has been terrible climate change and disasters that has pretty much made the earth unlivable. And most people have escaped in space colonies, obviously in the sky, because the earth is dying, you know? You can't really stay there anymore, so people are going up in the sky. But this book is actually set in Nigeria. There's giant wars because I guess some people are able to technologically make themselves be able to survive on this radiation-ridden planet. And there's 2 sisters who are willing to fight through the entire war to someday get peace and have everything be good again, you know? So, terrible descriptions once again, but this sounds really great. I actually went to a panel of this author at YALLFest, and that's why I got this book. He was talking with Holly Black, and he seemed super cool, so this seems like it's gonna be great. And look at this cover. And because of that, I got another Toshi Onyebushi book, Beast Made of Night. This is one of those books I've always seen around, and I just never picked it up. And as soon as I heard that dude talk, I just really was intrigued. So what I got from this is that there's corrupt mages that can magically call forth sin from a sinner in the form of a sin beast. So they can take the sin out of you and make a sin beast. And that's pretty much a lethal creature spawned from guilt. And the main character, Taj, is one of the Aki who slay the sin who slay the sin beasts. But the only thing about him slaying the sin beast is every time he kills one, it tattoos on his skin the beast that he killed, and then the sin comes into his mind and all the guilt of it comes to him, and that sounds really crazy. Then he ends up eating the sin of a royal, and his whole life freaking spirals, and everybody's trying to kill each other as normal in all of these crazy books. It sounds pretty interesting, sounds kind of confusing, but I'm sure once I actually read it, I will understand. The next book that I'm hauling is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. My friend Julia actually got me this book for Christmas, and I completely forgot to put it in my Christmas book haul, so here we are now. And this is the third book in a trilogy. The Scythe series, or whatever, starts with Scythe and Thunderhead, and it's pretty much about a world where nobody can die, and because of that, there are these people that become scythes who randomly pick people to kill because overpopulation is a problem, and two of the main characters become apprentices to become a scythe, but only one can become it, and the other one will have terrible life. So I'm excited to see where this book goes, because I don't know. The next book that I got is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This book is the second one of Children of Blood and Bone. I'm super excited to finally read this one. I've read Children of Blood and Bone. I read Children of Blood and Bone twice, and I still haven't freaking got around to reading the sequel. It came out in December, so I'll cut myself some slack. But it's pretty much about an all black cast of characters, and they live in a world where magic was freaking taken away suddenly. And our main character, Zaylee, she is from a magical family. Her mother was magical, and anybody who's magical has white hair, as you can see from this. And they're called the Magi, but the king freaking tried to kill all the magic, man, and he killed a bunch of the Magi, including Zaylee's mother. But one day, the princess escapes the castle with an object that could possibly bring magic back, and then she joins forces with Zaylee, and they go on a crazy adventure trying to bring magic back, but oh no, the crowned prince is coming behind them, trying to put a stop to them. So it's crazy. Cannot wait to see where this book is gonna go. I've heard good things so far, I think. Oh my god. I just dropped all these books everywhere on my laptop. Oh my goodness. Next book that I got was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I already have this book in paperback because it came out in paperback, but Book of the Month decided to make a hardcover edition, and it's one of my favorite books. So I had to buy it. It's pretty much about if Trump never won, there's a female president. They have a son named Alex. He is fresh out of college, and he doesn't know that he's bisexual yet, but he is. And he ends up having a rivalry with the hot prince of England. They become in a public fight, and then they have to try to act like they're friends to make things look better. And then they have a freaking amazing relationship, and it's the cutest thing ever. So enemies to lovers, so good. I love this book. It's so beautiful and adorable. Next book I have here is another book from Book of the Month. It's The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. What the frick did I get on there? Whatever. This is a King Arthur retelling type of book. Follows Guinevere. She is actually not the real Guinevere though. Guinevere died, and the daughter of Merlin is taking her place and pretending to be Guinevere to everyone, and is going to be Arthur's wife, King Arthur's wife, the queen. And it's because King Arthur is in danger, and currently in Camelot they've banned magic, and he needs to put a magical queen so he can hopefully try to protect himself from the big dark threat. This might be gay. it seems like the future book will be gay, so it's interesting. But I read it and it was just okay for me, to be honest, but I am interested in reading the next one. The next book I got is also from Book of the Month. It is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is actually an adult book, but it really caught my eye on their website because it's about like a haunted motel. And one of my favorite shows is Bates Motel. That's not a haunted motel sort of thing. It's actually about Norman Bates becoming a serial killer over time. It's fantastic, if you ask me. That show is great. Anything now that has to do with motels, I'm very intrigued by, and this just sounded really good, and it's not that long. It had good reviews. Pretty much this main character, she ends up getting a job as a night clerk at the Sundown Motel, but something isn't right about the motel. Something haunting and scary is going on. And that is in 1982. And then later on in 2017, there's a girl named Carly, and she's never been able to let go of the story of her aunt, Viv, who was the girl I just talked about from 1982, who mysteriously disappeared from the Sundown Motel before she was born. So she decides to move in and visit the motel, where she quickly learns that nothing has changed since 1982. And she soon finds herself ensnared in the same mysteries that claimed her aunt. So that sounds a lot cooler than I remembered it sounding, so whoa. The next book I got is Ash Lords by Scott Reitgen, also from Book of the Month, and I picked this one up because it said it was similar to the Hunger Games. There is a competition, and it's all about using gifted phoenix horses, and the competition is a giant race of people on these phoenix horses. And 11 riders compete in this year's race, but 3 of them have more to lose than the rest: a daughter of 2 former champions, a scholarship entrant, and the son of a revolutionary. Which one will attain their dream of glory and win the power for their people? Or will they all flame out in defeat? So apparently people can actually die in this race. Like, it's a hardcore race. It's apparently similar to the Hunger Games, and I just could not resist the idea of reading something like that. So now we're on to the final book of the book haul, something I read recently in February. It's Harleen by Stjepan Seljic. I butchered that. I am so sorry. And this is a graphic novel bind up of 3 different issues that were released. It's about Harley Quinn, if you can't tell. And just look how cool this is. You see this? And then you can slip it off, and that is just the coolest thing. So if you don't know the origin story about Harley Quinn, she is a psychiatrist in an asylum, and she ends up getting the Joker as her patient, and slowly, as she keeps talking to him, she starts to grow feelings for him and starts to go a little bit crazy. And it's one of the most interesting things to me, like how this psychiatrist actually went crazy herself while trying to help a crazy person. Like, I just love that so much. And this graphic novel really did it for me. Highly recommend it, and I will talk about it in my February wrap up more. So, oh my god, that is it for this chaotic winter book haul. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books or are wanting to read them. Like this video, comment down below, have a good day. Please subscribe, make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button, which you should have already clicked, and goodbye.